The most tragic story in Jeepers Creepers was the unlucky, reckless brother who just wanted to help, but in turn suffered a horrific death.
And I grew up watching horror movies, so it was kind of a thrill to. It was just so bizarre to get to be in one, you know.
What if Darry's story didn't actually end after his death? Because what if the darkness at the end of the first film, which echoed his haunting scream, was something worse than death? What if Darry is part of the Creeper? What made Darry Jenner stand out from his sister was the attribution of empathy.
We're both pretty damn sure what we saw him dump down that pipe, right?
Arguably, it's a good quality to have, great quality to have, but it brings you a vulnerability. And even spiritually speaking, empathetic people are considered to be more spiritually connected. A lot of raw emotions, all just waiting for this monster to take at any given time. Darry was almost irresistible to the Creeper. If you want to take it a bit further, an evaluation of Darry's character might even point to some hidden trauma or even guilt in his carefree, I do what I want to do life. Some might even say a lifestyle like that leaves a person open to evil influence, if you believe the paranormal films, that is. But the consensus is the Creeper was a monster which absorbed the soul of its helpless victims, making them too part of the monster. But there's a hyper focus on Darry even in the second film, and there could be a reason why. The very superstitious side of me notes that Darry originally never ran from the Creeper. He chased the darkness he brought into his life, like opening a door in horror films, very symbolic. Would there be any implication for the future if Darry did become part of the Creeper in its next life cycle? Because we likely see it mutate into something new, retaining only parts of its older self and even changing its habits. It's unlikely, but it changes Giselle's part of the story, as then you're going to have to ask whether or not she was actually warning Darry about his death, or maybe she was warning him about what she saw he would turn into or become, but just couldn't bear to tell him. It would be a Creeper with his human emotion, like the regret he felt or the guilt he felt, like why he couldn't just drive past that church. It would be making the Creeper unstable. Because this theory can only base itself off the fact that his eyes were taken, and that's the window to a human soul. We hear Darry scream one last time at the end of the film, and a skeptic would wonder, what if, after that silence, what if that wasn't actually a scream of death? And what if, after its 23rd year, it renews its life? And what if this time, Darry's soul takes over the Creeper during its hibernation? We learned a long time ago of the original ending scene, with Darry driving the Creeper's truck into a train, unsuccessfully sacrificing himself in an attempt to kill the Creeper. And to me, that train would symbolize inescapable fate, because it's this massive, mechanical, unstoppable thing, you know, and to even consider this as a possibility, you have to understand the weight of Darry as a character and the sacrifice he tried to make, not only to save his sister, but then even save everybody who would have died or did die in the second film. Because originally he fought and he tried to kill the Creeper. It was just rewritten for budget issues, but that's technically the original fate of his character. And the Creeper feeds on these parts of the body. We know that. Who knows if taking Darry's eyes, the person who actively fought death, could have been like an infection or something, like making it feel fragments of sadness or worse forms of cruelty because of these conflicting emotions that it's now beginning to feel. Like, what's that quote from some film? You either die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain. What if Darry didn't save the world but became its next monster? Personally, I think it's a perfect storm. Failure to kill the Creeper meant something worse, like his soul couldn't escape, but it was swallowed into the monster. And what came next would be the weight of Darry's final moments inside this monster. It's made with the ingredients of guilt, grief, and this newfound hunger. His memories, his pain, his desire to protect others, it was all gone because the Creeper won. But in doing that, it absorbed something it shouldn't have. What if part of Darry is just trapped inside this demonic entity? And for as long as we see this monster in the original story, like the first two films, part of Justin Long's character will always be connected. Like they say, a law of physics or something, it's like one thing affects, one small thing, no matter how small it is, affects everything in the grand scheme of things. Personally, I think part 2 felt like Darry had some remaining consciousness around the Creeper. I mean, how else did he warn Minxie? Because he was dead. What that told me is he is not at peace, and only hoping his warnings can minimize the deaths of those other characters. But it's sick. It's like he's being forced to watch the creepers hunt all over again, time after time, meanwhile screaming his warnings that most people can't or won't even understand. In a sense, it feels like Darry is still a major player in the creepers hunting cycle, something the creeper can't get rid of. Because at first it looked like Darry was a guardian angel. He warned the living about the danger of this monster. But honestly, he might just be a prisoner, trapped inside the monster he couldn't kill. That would be crazy, wouldn't it? Darry, aka the Creeper. This is just a theory, not exactly my thoughts on it. I don't know if I'd say it's realistic to believe this monster would be no longer pure evil, or that any part of Darry is stuck inside it, but it makes for a great discussion, and the fact is, we just don't know. We really don't know.